Welcome everybody to the 2023 AV Autumn National. My name is Dale Murphy and I'm the Exhibition Director. Dr. Greg McMillan, the President of the Australian Photographic Society, will now open this showcase. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you, Dale. Hi everyone, and it's always good to be here for the AV presentation. I think this is my third year, and in the last 2 years that I've done the welcome for this, I guess on behalf of the APSMC, been incredibly impressed and inspired by the work that's been done by previous submitters and award recipients and so forth. Just on that note, I guess whether it's in AV or print, there are some things that we're looking to try to do in the future to encourage people to get a bit more focus on, more than just a single image. So keep an eye out for Mini Theme Month. We're just working through the finer details at the moment, but basically Mini Theme Month is about putting 5 images together in a common story or a theme approach, and we'll have a couple of months per year that I guess encourage particularly newer members who haven't tried multiple image sort of presentations in the past to look at that. So whether that then feeds on to AV and or print and the photo book over time, I guess we'll find out, but hopefully it will. The other thing is with, of course, AV, given the fact that you guys do some outstanding images, I would encourage you to look at the photo book awards that are held every year as well. And I'm sure some of you, in fact, I know some of you cross over between AV and photo book awards. And I look forward to seeing more and more of those in there this year. So look, I'm going to step back now, hand back over to Dale. I'm looking forward to the presentations tonight, the videos tonight. Dale always does a great job of putting those together, and you guys do a fantastic job of doing the presentation. And thank you for your participation in APS, and thank you for your participation with APS AV. And look forward to the next 60 minutes or so. Dale, back over to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Greg. I want to thank our judges tonight, Alia Norton, Margaret Fagg and Trish McCausland. Alia will be giving commentary after each of the AVs that we display tonight. So, moving on to acceptances. A Sunny Day in Italy by Ruth Benson. Michael Bucknell's Wingello, To Burn. Well done, Michael. The Wedding Whisperer Who Travels by Joy Melchiori. Surfers in Paradise by John Hodgson. Well done, John. Jaisalmer by David Shetliff. Well done, David. Outdoor Gallery by Cynthia Henley Smith. Well done, Cynthia. The Copper Triangle by John and Judith Hodgson, who also received the Herbert Medallion for travel photography. Well done, John and Judith. I will be playing this AV because it's a Herbert Medallion winner.
Nestled in the central part of Yorke Peninsula in South Australia are the towns of Moonta, Kadina and Wallaroo, widely referred to as the Copper Triangle. Nowadays, they are picturesque historic towns, bustling with farmers going about their business, and tourists in holiday mode. The towns had their origins in copper mining. Copper was first found at Wallaroo in 1859, and Walter Hughes, on whose land the copper deposit was discovered, established the Wallaroo Mining Company a year later. The following year, copper was also discovered at Moonta, and Hughes bought the lease for that area too. A few years later, he built the Hughes engine, which served the mines for 58 years. Wallaroo also became the next local seaport for the mining industry. In 1861, the state government decided to establish a new town to house the growing number of mining families. Kadina became the town that completed the triangle as a business centre, and by 1875 boasted a population of over 20,000, mostly Cornish miners and their families. The mines attracted Cornish miners because of poor working conditions in Cornwall and because their expertise in mining was sorely needed in the Copper Triangle. The mines were very profitable, and at the height of their productivity in 1889 produced ore worth £5.4 million. However, as extraction costs increased and the price of copper began to fall, the mines were forced to close in 1923. By that time, the Moonta and Wallaroo mines had collectively produced £20.4 million worth of copper. Once mining ceased in 1923, the towns of the Copper Triangle were sustained by agriculture. During the late 1800s, wheat and barley were staple crops in the area, and the stump-jump plough was developed there. Bagged wheat was first shipped from Wallaroo in the 1870s. As broadacre cereal crops grew in importance, a bulk grain export facility was completed in Wallaroo in 1958. Over the years, York Peninsula has become a popular tourist destination, and the Copper Triangle has benefited enormously. Kadina has grown as an important business and retail centre, with large modern shopping facilities. A monthly Saturday market attracts not only tourists, but families from the surrounding farming districts. Reminders of its mining history abound at Moonta, with its Mining Heritage Museum, as well as heritage walks and drives. Mine sites are a drawcard for tourists, as are former miners' cottages. The nearby jetty at Moonta Bay is popular for fishing, scuba diving and snorkelling, and a new playground is a real family attraction, as is the beach area, which is enclosed to exclude sharks. Wallaroo has become a popular retirement area, with new housing developments, good restaurants and cafes, a large marina, and a newly developed jetty. There is also significant grain storage on the foreshore. Agriculture continues to be a significant part of the Copper Triangle's economy, but with areas of historic interest, clear skies, pristine waters and stunning beaches, the area's future in tourism also seems assured.
Well done, John and Judith. Great photography. Moving on to the merits. The first of those is Eggs and Shapes by Ruth Benson. Ruth also gets the Herbert Medallion for Creativity. Well done, Ruth. Congratulations, Ruth.
Is this where I come in?
This is where you come in, Alia.
Yes, congratulations, Ruth. We were very captivated with this, and that's why it is very creative. And the whole thing, and I don't know whether Ruth's tuning in or not, but you can correct us. You did the whole AV on just 3 images. Is that correct, or was there only just 2 images? We were trying to work it out. But we just loved the effect. The music was just fabulous with it, and I just loved the way that you constructed the whole thing. So congratulations.
Thank you. And yes, I think it were only 3 images.
Yes, yeah, we counted up. I actually had another look at it after we had finished everything, because we were just curious to see how many images there were. So. The other judge, Margaret, and I, we sat and looked at it again just to count up the images to see how many there were. So very, very creative, the whole AV just on those 3 images. Yeah, very good.
Yes, well done, Ruth. Moving on. Not So Different by Cynthia Henley Smith.
I have always enjoyed drawing and still have one picture which I drew when I was about 4. At school, most of us liked to draw or paint people. We drew these figures facing us, but we had trouble with 2 parts. The nose was hard to draw because it stuck out toward us. Some of us just drew a line for it, but Amanda and Tony drew what we all knew a nose really looked like. We also had trouble with the feet because they are long, but from the front they look short. That was hard to do, so we drew them long anyway. Not many of us tried to draw people sideways. Those who did had trouble with the eye because you only see part of it. How do you draw part of an eye? I remember Wendy and John drew a whole one because that was what they knew an eye looked like. The rest of us avoided drawing people sideways. Sometimes when we drew a whole person, we would draw the body and then draw the clothes on top of it. This made the clothes look as if you could see through them, which of course you can't, but we needed a body to put the clothes on. We did the same with walls, if we wanted to show the furniture inside the house. I was not sure how you could do it any other way. We tended to draw the important person first, and then fill the page with other people or things that were not so important. These we would draw smaller. When Belinda drew the teacher, she drew the class's tiny children along the bottom of the page. I liked to add a house, the sun or rain, or flowers and trees, but the person was always bigger. Mum said I drew the hands too big, but I liked the warm hugs Mum gave me, so her hands were important to me. So was her smile that I always drew. Now that I am an adult, I find all this fascinating and can see the problems we faced as children evident in the art of past civilizations. It's strange that we need to pass through these stages of drawing what we know before we try to draw what we actually see.
Well done, Cynthia. That was fun.
Yes, it was. Congratulations, Cynthia. We always look for something different, and this was your title is Not So Different, but this is just it was just wonderful. and all the overlaying of the children's drawings and contrasting them to the Egyptian artwork and other ancient artworks. It was just such a novel concept. Your voiceover was clear. I love the script. It was well scripted, and you did a lot of thought went into this, and just something really different. So congratulations.
Thanks, Alia, and congratulations again, Cynthia. Exposed by John Hodson.
– 2022 marks 60 years since I first began taking photographs. I began with a Kodak folding camera lent to me by my dad, and I have to say that the images I took at the time were pretty ordinary. However, unlike many amateur photographers, at no time in my photographic life did I ever decide to specialise in any particular kind of subject matter. I joined the Australian Photographic Society in 1980, and since that time I've learned to photograph almost anything that catches my eye. Anything from peeling paint to pretty girls. Let me take you on a journey through a variety of photographic subjects, each of which has appealed to me in some way. Let me start with rust and peeling paint, and quote Chinese philosopher Confucius, "Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it." We all walk past these kinds of subjects whenever we're out and about, or even at home, but many of us fail to see the abstract art inadvertently created by the passage of time, or failure to maintain, or both. Selective composition is a key part of turning a piece of scrap into a work of art. In 2003, when I bought my first digital camera, a compact, not a DSLR, I was impressed by its close-up capabilities and started to develop an interest in still life photography. I was still working full-time, and a winter of wet weekends encouraged me to look for household items as still life subjects and to primarily use window light and reflectors to create appealing images. A completely different form of photography was brought to me by the Adelaide Camera Club, to which I've belonged since 2006. Every year, in late January, the club has organised a beach photo shoot, at which we have photographed aspiring models. Harsh summer light, heavy cloud, or even rain have created exposure challenges of various kinds, but overall, some pleasing shots have been achieved, which have found their way into the models' folios. Three visits to Southern Africa, Namibia in 2006, Botswana in 2012, and South Africa in 2019, began and developed my interest in wildlife photography, which in turn resulted in my buying longer and faster lenses and learning the quite different techniques required by comparison with my previous photographic interests. Being able to review images on the back of a digital camera allowed the necessary adjustments in terms of light and depth of field, and I was eventually able to come to grips with the challenges presented by wildlife photography. Between 2007 and 2010, I was faced with a new photographic challenge. I was invited by the University of South Australia to be the chief photographer for a book to be entitled Wildlife of Greater Adelaide. While photographing animals and birds no longer presented any great challenges, a big part of my task was to photograph invertebrates. Fortunately, the editors of the book were able to organise 2 school holiday sessions at the South Australian Museum entitled Bring Us Your Bugs, a competition which encouraged school children to bring samples of as many kinds of invertebrates as they could find. Scientists at the museum then place the invertebrates on suitable backgrounds for me to photograph with a macro lens. I was also invited by the university to be the sole photographer for another book entitled Adelaide, Water of a City. In that instance, I was simply given each draft chapter as it was produced, and it was left to me to decide on the kinds of images best suited to those chapters. Some of the images taken for these two books also found their way into two other books published for the university, A Guide to Urban Wildlife and Our Country. For most of my working life, I was a town planner, and that meant I spent a lot of time dealing with architects and with urban design issues. That in turn encouraged an interest in photographing architecture and urban details. Much of that photography was done in Adelaide for obvious reasons, but travel interstate and overseas also created opportunities to pursue this kind of imaging. Perhaps my involvement in photographing rust and peeling paintwork encouraged me to concentrate on architectural detail rather than entire buildings, but I also enjoy photographing urban settings. One of my enduring photographic interests has been landscape and seascape photography, and since I retired, I've spent a lot of time in outback Australia and also in New Zealand, looking for appealing landscape images. As I get older, one of the key components of good landscape photography, early morning light, is becoming more of a challenge, but late afternoon light is always accessible. So there you have it. There are attractive images to be captured in any setting. One of the joys of my photographic life has been seeing beauty all around me, and not necessarily where most people see it. Don't bore viewers of your images by showing them something they see on a regular basis. Instead, show them something they might see regularly, but not in the way you've presented it.
Congratulations, John.
Yes, John, it was an excellent AV. Congratulations. Another great idea, concept, to talk about your own life story in photography, and such a broad range, very diverse range of photography, and it was all beautifully handled. You had great continuity all the way through, was well scripted, and the music was very subtle, it didn't intrude at all, and visually it was well presented. So congratulations, John.
Yes, congratulations again, John, and superb photography. And for a merit, The Beehives of Purnululu by Ruth Benson.
In the remote East Kimberley of Western Australia lies the Purnululu National Park, home to the beehive-shaped sandstone towers of the Bungu Bungu Range. Aborigines have been living in this area for at least 20,000 years, but the first white Australians to see the Bungu Bungu Range were the members of the Alexander Forest Exploration Party in 1879. In search of new unsettled land and grassy plains, they did not appreciate the beauty of the Bungu Bungu Range. Only as recent as 1983, a widespread media promotion introduced the Bungu Bungus to most of Australia and prompted the Western Australian government a few years later to establish the Purnululu National Park in recognition of the unique landscape and the tourist potential. Vehicle access to the park and the Bungu Bungu Range is via an unsealed track, restricted to four-wheel drive vehicles only. It has many rocky sections, severe corrugations, and deep creek crossings. The park can also be accessed by air, and many visitors take scenic flights over the area. The range extends for 25 kilometers from north to south and 30 kilometers from east to west. The Bungo Bungo Range is a deeply dissected plateau formed of sandstone and conglomerate deposited 360 million years ago during the Devonian period. Over the last 20 million years, peculiar beehive-shaped domes have been created by mechanical weathering through the action of wind, rain, plants, and especially by flowing water in creeks and rivers. Some beehive domes are joined together in lines, some form clusters separated by valleys, and some occur as isolated groups. The sides of many beehive domes and cliff faces have hollows formed where pebbles and large fragments have fallen away during weathering. A distinctive feature of the beehives is their alternating dark grey and orange horizontal banding. The bands are visible from beehive to beehive for many kilometers. The dark grey bands are developed within silty layers that retain moisture, leading to the growth of cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. In contrast, the orange bands consist of iron oxide cemented sandstone, impermeable to groundwater and consequently devoid of the algal mats. The northwestern part of the Bungo Bungo Range is a maze of deep and narrow gorges, in some places obstructed by fallen blocks of conglomerate. Livistona fan palms grow along creek beds and slopes, and often on almost vertical cliffs in precarious positions on narrow ledges and in crevices. While sandstone beehives, similar to those in the Bungo Bungos, are known in the Sahara Desert and other parts of Australia, the Bungo Bungo Range is unique in terms of extent, size, variety of shapes, and colouring. It has deservedly been declared a World Heritage Site.
Well done, Ruth.
Yes, Ruth, congratulations. It was a very informative. You've done a lot of research and putting it into your script. Again, the music was just nice and subtle, lying underneath. We like the usage of the video footage in there. Always brings it a little bit more to life. Oh, sorry about that noise. That was my phone. Yes, and it's always good to throw in some sound effects, because when the aerial shots, you had the sound of the helicopter there, but it wasn't intrusive. It was just in that background, and always nice to have some maps to show exactly where it is. And the concept flowed very well. And again, excellent photography. Visually, it was well presented. Just one little note, that when you photograph a place like this, there's only so many angles and shots that you can do of the place. And when you put your photos in, try not to use too many photos of the same thing, if you know what I mean. That's hard to explain, but I know they're all different, but a couple of them were similar. So try not to use too many similar photos. But other than that, it was an excellent documentary. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations again, Ruth. I thought it was just beautiful. Moving on. Moving on to the medals now. And third place for the bronze medal goes to Cynthia Henley-Smith for Xanthorrhoea. Well done, Cynthia.
For the last 30 million years or so, the Xanthorrhoea, or yakka as it is known, has been one of Australia's toughest native plants. It may live for up to 600 years, grow in the poorest soil, and survive drought and bushfires. Now, how is this possible? One of the secrets is in its root system. Fungi help it to support water and minerals. The leaves do not fall. They droop when they age and form a skirt. Bases of the leaves produce resin which sticks them together to form the trunk. This grows very slowly, less than a centimetre a year. There are many varieties of Xanthorrhoea. Some of these have a long trunk, or even a divided one. Others appear to have no trunk at all. The leaves are long, thin and hard, and fan out in a broad hemisphere of green. They catch the sunlight and photosynthesize. The crowning glory is the flower stalk. It can be up to 4 metres high and take 20 years to flower. Hundreds of tiny, highly scented white flowers grow in a spiral around it and produce a sweet nectar. These flowers mature into sharp, pointed seed pods. The seeds fall and their tiny roots pull them underground. If it is so tough, how come numbers are declining? The cinnamon virus is killing it by destroying its root system. Bardy grubs lay their eggs in the skirt, and the young grubs bore holes in the trunk, interrupting the flow of nutrients to the upper plant. Specimens have been lost as land has been cleared for farms and urban development. The Xanthorrhoea has provided both man and animals with many things. Carpenter bees sometimes live in the hollow trunk and produce honey. Birds come for the nectar or seeds. Black cockatoos come for larvae. And small animals shelter in the skirt. First Nation people used to eat the tender leaf bases and young roots. Seeds were ground for flour. Seed pods were used as cutting tools. Sweet drinks were made from the nectar, and the resin was used as glue in constructing tools. Spears were made for fishing from the upper flower stalk, and fire sticks from the base. Early settlers in Australia also made use of this ancient plant for making many things, including incense, soap, wine, perfume, varnishes and lacquers, medicines, gramophone records, and a coating for telegraph poles. But most astonishing of all is Xanthorrhoea's ability to recover from fire. Fire actually stimulates flowering and keeps the thickening skirt under control. What a stunning contrast sunlit xanthorrhea make under fire-blackened gums. This ancient plant is fascinating and beautiful.
Well done, Cynthia.
Congratulations, Cynthia. It was a well-deserved bronze medal. Number one, I love the opening. I loved how you brought in the title, one letter at a time, right on the beat of that music. And to me, if anyone knows me, I'm a bit that way with the music. So that was a lovely opening. Great photography. So much research has gone into there, and I learned so much about this plant that I never knew before, and it was just terrific. Your voice was clear. The music again was very suitable and just lying underneath. And I like just the nice overlay of the images, other images that you brought in over the top when you were telling the story, and the support of some historical images as well. So congratulations on your bronze medal.
Congratulations, Cynthia. And for second place, for the silver medal, goes to Detour to the Dark End of the Street by Adrian Weir and myself. And I've got to say, before I play the AV, this is based on Adrian Weir's superb street photography.
street, you and me.
Well, congratulations, Dale and Adrian. It's all about the photography. It's all about the photography in this one. Just wonderful. And I think you said, Dale, that was Adrian's photography. And it was visually well presented. And I like the use of the transitions, that you picked transitions. They weren't intrusive, but they matched the composition of the next photo, be it a triangle or a rectangular or circular transition. So that was really well done and well thought. And as I say, great photography. Now, the only thing I have to say, and I've already spoken to Dale about this, that using songs with words. To me, the song has to be, the words of the song has to match the story of the images that you're showing. And it's always important that your audience can understand the words of the song. So I picked up most of the words in the song, but there were other songs, I mean, probably that's Jimmy Barnes's voice, that if you don't know the music, if you don't follow the popular music, if you don't know the words, and it's hard to always keep that continuity and that follow on with what the singer is saying and whether that is matching that. But above all that, we thought it was very worthy of a silver medal because of the photography, the idea behind it, and the presentation and everything like that. So congratulations, Adrian and Dale.
Thanks very much, Alia. Moving on to the ultimate first place for gold medal goes to Nick Clark for A Day at the Races. He gets the gold medal and he gets the Herbert Medallion for top novice. So this is Nick's first AV and he comes right out at top with the gold medal. Fantastic job, Nick.
The others must have stayed back to another book.
It does. That's right. That's right.
I'm going to take some two winners, number 2. Page 23.
Congratulations, Nick, on a fantastic achievement.
Nick, what can I say? It's all about the impact. Right from, first of all, I just love all the black and white photography. Right from the beginning, it had excitement, it had tension. As I said before, it just had this impact on us straight away. Loved all the characters in your in your photographs. And it just told this whole story in chronological order, right from at the beginning of the day when it's all starting up. And I like the fact there was no music until just before the race started. And of course, the William Tell Overture is just absolutely suitable for this sort of thing. And I just loved all that sound effect. You felt like you were actually there. And that's how it was. And of course, I like just that little couple of photos of the men running and the women running. I just thought that was a nice little insert there with your thing. And it was visually well done. And of course, right at the end, I just loved that last photograph of that horse. And that's so all up, it was a great package and a great impact, and that's what we look for in these audio visuals. So again, congratulations, Nick, for a first time for a novice. That was just fantastic. Can't wait to see your other work. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And yeah, again, congratulations, Nick. But folks, that brings us to the end. And I'd like to first congratulate all of our AV authors today. I'd like to also thank Stella and Renee at the APS offices, because they've been a great support and help. And to our judges, Alia, Margaret, and Trish.